Yeah, I don't think I've ever been as nervous and panic stricken as the day I received my final paycheck. And so I'm going to show you a recording that I filmed of myself while I was on vacation the day I received my final corporate paycheck. And um, I'm pretty I'm pretty sure you'll be able to listen to what I say and realize that what I said, I absolutely did not believe. I was trying to force the most positive words I could out of my mouth at that time. So watch this. Today is May 5th, 2023. Today is the brokest I will ever be. Yesterday was the last day of the most inconsistent I will ever be. I will not worry about my back. My God did not give me a spirit of fear. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I have friends, I have resources, I have connections, I have access. There is nothing I need to fear. I fear nothing. Okay, so you've watched the video. Did you believe that that day was going to be the brokest I had ever been, or will ever be? Right? So let me just say, like, if you think about the definition of broke, the definition of broke is without money, didn't have money. And I had money at the time. I was part of the tech layoffs in early of 2023 and had never been laid off in my entire life. It was something that I didn't know how to function with because all I knew in life was to be employed and receive a paycheck. And so when I was laid off, uh, there was still some comfort there because they gave me several months of like continuous pay. Like they put us out on administrative leave, which meant, that was their way of giving us time to kind of transition because none of us saw it coming. It was completely unexpected. From the company that I worked with, a very large majority of the people that were laid off were all stateside, not international folks. And so it was a real shock. I mean, it wasn't just like people like me who had been there like 18 months. It was individuals that had been there 8 years, 13 years in positions of management and leadership and directors of divisions. I have no idea what happened afterwards, but I know that there was the most incredible level of shock that hit so many of us. And it's something I never want to go through ever again. I'm kind of going back to like why I was okay at the time was, they gave us several months of administrative leave and then a severance after that. And the day that I received that last paycheck was the severance pay. There was no more checks coming after that. Everything was on me. And I had been applying. I felt like, my experiences of working with Fortune 500 companies and really great positions and levels of leadership and responsibility, like, why wouldn't you pick me up? Nothing. Like, people would say they were interested. You get recruiters in your email box, folks giving you phone calls, um, you know, the state recruiter saying, I think you're going to be a good fit for this job. And, they've revamped my resume. I've done some updates to the resume using the power words, really being descriptive and showing impacts in the position. And it turns out, because the news talked about it even, there are a lot of us middle management folks that just were not going to get picked up again. Watch the news. Look at what's happening. Like, look at all that Amazon's laying off. All of these companies are laying off all their middle management folks, even to today, not just back then. And so it's really forced a lot of us to be in the position of having to be our own boss, figure it out, because the only positions that people were calling me for were, you know, cashiers or manual labor in a warehouse. And I knew that with all my years of experience, the companies that I worked for, the accomplishments, certifications, etc., even though I had not finished my bachelor's degree, I knew I still had skill sets that were marketable, transferable, and that I had capabilities that I could like figure something out, right? Luckily, I had a friend who picked me up and had me do online business management for her. I did some conference management for her. Those came out really successful, and so I found it really powerful and easy to be in the background, um, learning new skill sets, right? Learning how to build websites, learning what automations mean, being able to take some of the expertise from the luxury brand that I worked with and turn those into like customer experience. And this is how you talk to people, and this is what your emails should sound like. So I found it kind of easy to put those things together. But eventually, over time, I didn't like being someone's assistant, if you will, because I've always been a people leader. I've always been um, a facilitator, a trainer, a leader, and being in the background. It's fun learning because there's that. Ooh, I did that. Ooh, that looks good. That was amazing, right? There's that part, but then there's always this kind of nag because you're worth more, where you feel like, okay, it's time to do something different. And so I started to push and kind of call on the different skills of different things that I've done in the past, most of which is coaching, right? So I called on my life coaching skills. Um, I called on training and facilitation. A lot of people ended up kind of calling me for advice on how to manage their events. So I've had the incredible opportunity to learn some really great stuff, and really great brands that have allowed me to learn with them and kind of make mistakes, not on my dime. They weren't monumental mistakes, but just, things that become note to file for the next time you find yourself in that position. And so I kind of gained the persona of everything's fine, right? Everything's great. But I had never been an entrepreneur before. I'd never run my own business. I didn't have good money management skills going into it. And so my mindset for the first year of being an entrepreneur was I just need to make enough to pay my bills. It was never I need to make enough to pay my bills and put away for taxes and make sure I had a business license and make sure that I could continue to pay my credit card bills, right? Because my lifestyle before becoming an entrepreneur was well into six figures. And so I lived a lifestyle that was well into six figures. And when I wasn't making that and it all came to a screeching halt, it all stop. Was that the right thing to do? Absolutely not. You live and you learn. You make mistakes. And so I'm paying for some of those right now. I am not ashamed to get on here and say that I am rebuilding. I'm absolutely rebuilding. So if I go back to the title and was at you know, I'll never be as broke as I was today, like this is the brokest I will ever be, that was a lie because I wasn't ready to not be broke. And I didn't know how to not be broke. I wasn't raised in a household that told me or taught me how to do things the right way financially. So there were days. Okay, so I haven't lost anything. Nothing's been off longer than maybe an hour, if that. So I feel pretty accomplished in that I was able to like maintain my home, maintain my kids, maintain food, maintain my vehicle. But it's not easy. I will dare say that it's a year and a half later that I can honestly say that I think I've got a better, I don't have the best, but I have a much better handle on what needs to happen, how I need to approach client acquisition, how I need to manage my bills, how I need to manage invoicing and the timing of things. So there are days where it's really, really great, and there are days where it's really, really tight. So you can say all the right things. I said that it would be like I live in fear. And I'm sure you heard at the end of that video, I was terrified. I had never in my life ever been laid off. Was solely responsible for everything in the household. And my faith wasn't as strong as it should have been. It absolutely was not as strong as it should have been. And it took a lot of heart work. It took a lot of head work to really realize what behaviors I was exhibiting, what limiting beliefs I had in my mind that were really going to be troublesome if I did not find healing and maturity moving forward. And so, what have I learned over this last year of kind of being broke and the ebbs and flows? So, here's what I would say to anyone who has the choice to move into entrepreneurship. I was voluntold. I was thrust into entrepreneurship. Having worked in corporate America for more than 34 years, it was never a thought in my mind. Well, that's a lie. After having worked in corporate America for more than 34 years, it was always a dream, but you get comfortable with the golden handcuffs, right? The golden handcuffs of low cost, full coverage benefits, steady paychecks that show up every 14 days, and that direct deposit hits, and you know exactly what's going to be in there and that you can get your bills paid. I worked for an organization with car benefits. I worked for another organization that had PTO where I'd get paid. And now it's, if I sit down and watch a show, if I decide to go take a trip, I'm not getting paid in those times. And so it's been a huge mindset change to really change how I acquire clients, how I manage my finances. So if, like I said, if I wanted to go back and kind of give you some advice, I'd say don't move into entrepreneurship until you know you've got good money habits, or you've got someone that you can collaborate with that will help you understand how to balance all those things. I would definitely say have savings. And if you have the ability to, have at least 6 to 9 months of savings, like, or something that you can fall back on that's not a credit card, that will allow you to kind of balance while you figure things out. If you have the chance, don't immediately move into entrepreneurship. I've heard individuals say, wait until your side hustle equals your 9 to 5 before you make the move. And I know, like post COVID, so many of you are in positions and jobs where if you could quit yesterday, you would have, because people are not kind, especially if you're in the service industry. It's hard because, nobody knows you, nobody sees you. COVID stole all of our human decency away from us, and so many of us are in recovery and trying to figure those things out. So, without proper planning, you will have broke days. But that's just broke financially, and financial brokenness is temporary. I've actually become quite wealthy being an entrepreneur. And that wealth comes in the deep dive that I took into personal development. I am absolutely not the same person that I was 2 years ago, based on discovery, based on self awareness, based on healing. I am not the same person educationally, talent, and skill wise that I was 2 years ago. I have learned things that I, kind of formally dabbled in, but now I use the things that I've learned and those skills to really kind of create a really great job and a position that's in demand, with skills that are in demand. So um, that's been super dope. The people that I've been able to meet, the places that I've been able to travel, and the ability to be there for my family in ways that I could not have been had I had a 9 to 5 and been restricted by short term disability, PTO balances, work demands, etc. Because it's one thing to take the time off, but once you take the time off and you come back, sometimes it's worse than before you went on vacation. Like, sometimes in corporate America, going on vacation is really a setup. You go on vacation for your own mental sanity, but when you come back, the pile of work that's waiting for you is almost worse than when you left. And that's sad, because I know some really, really wonderful, wonderful people that are working in corporate environments, and the jobs are killing them. They're absolutely not the same person or people that they were when they first started the job or when they were first hired at the job. Um, and they're just physically exhausted, mentally drained, and their outlook on the world and humans and human decency is just so skewed. Would I trade being an entrepreneur at this stage of my life? Nope, not right now. I'm having a really, really, really good time. Like I said, the time freedom, nothing can beat time freedom. So I would say I would still do it over and over and over again. Would I do it abruptly the way that the company did with me? Absolutely not. But yeah, my life's pretty good right now, regardless of the dog that you hear in the background. Anyway, thanks for listening today. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know, are you an entrepreneur, or are you thinking about being an entrepreneur, and what kinds of things have you put into place to get you prepared for that, right? Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And remember, it doesn't get easier, it just gets different. Until next time.